So you must conduct yourself as if you were physically in a court. Do not do anything on this Zoom that you could not do if you were present in the courtroom.
También tenga en mente que esta es una audiencia virtual oficial, es como si estuviera presente en la sala de justicia. Asegúrese de que no vaya a hacer nada ahorita virtualmente que usted no haría si estuviera presente en la sala de justicia.
Also be sure that if you are in a room that there is nothing distracting behind you and that you are fully clothed while you're on the Zoom.
Asegúrese también de que se encuentre en un cuarto, de que usted esté completamente vestido y que no haya nada en el trasfondo que vaya a causar algún tipo de distracción, por favor.
Also make sure that you refrain from moving around while on this Zoom, because what that does is it draws everybody else's attention to you moving around in your room. So make sure that you're stationary while you're on the Zoom, please.
Por favor, asegúrese que no se esté moviendo cuando el sitio donde se encuentra, que se encuentre sentado en un sitio sin estarse moviendo, porque entonces cuando se está moviendo, eso hace de que todas las miradas se concentren en lo que usted está haciendo y es una distracción. Asegúrese que se esté estacionario en un sitio que no se esté moviendo.
This is a trial calendar this morning, so we expect that you'll be ready to proceed with your trial.
Este es una lista, esta mañana la lista de casos son para juicio, por lo tanto esperamos que usted esté listo o lista para ir a juicio.
To be sure of that, we're going to call the roll and get your announcement if you want to proceed with your trial, if you are changing your plea to guilty or nolo contendere.
Por esa misma razón vamos a llamar a la lista de casos para asegurarnos si usted quiere hacer algún cambio, se puede cambiar de declaración a nolo o a culpable, pero para asegurarnos si cómo se va a declarar para proceder en la mañana de hoy.
We will call the roll shortly, and the only announcement we need to hear from you is ready for trial, guilty, nolo contendere. Please make sure that you are ready to proceed when we start the trial if you're proceeding with a not guilty.
Entonces ahora cuando llevemos un nombre va a escoger una de las tres opciones, listo para ir a juicio. Si quiere cambiar su declaración, entonces a nolo o culpable dice eso y asegúrese que esté listo. Si va a ir a juicio, que tenga todo listo para ir a juicio hoy.
Also, I have two people that are on the Zoom that I don't know if their device is sideways or just your camera is sideways, but Ayana Marbury and Robin Persall, if you could adjust your devices so that you are upright on the Zoom. There you go. Thank you. All right, so we'll call the calendar in just a second and just make sure that you give me your announcement. If you are represented by an attorney, your attorney is not present, please just state so because we cannot proceed with your attorney not being present. We're going to start with the folks that are in the courtroom. Ms. Green, can you get, how many people are there with you?
We have 5 people in here with me.
Okay, can you have them come up individually? I just want to get their plea from them.
Okay, sir. You. Mm-hmm. This is going to be on page 3. Mr. Pineda.
Señor Pineda.
Sí.
Mr. Pineda, good morning.
Buenos días, señor Pineda.
¿Cómo?
Buenos días, ¿cómo
Buenos
está?
días.
Good
Buenos
morning.
días.
Mr. Pineda, today's your trial date. How do you plan to proceed with the trial? Are you sticking with the not guilty or are you pleading guilty or nolo contendere?
Señor Pineda, hoy es el día de su juicio. ¿Usted está listo para proceder con el juicio o va a cambiar de declaración a culpable o a nolo? ¿O va a seguir con el juicio? ¿Qué va a hacer hoy?
Mire, señorita, yo lo que quiero es una definición de que me digan.
¿Qué quiere usted? Perdón.
Una definición de que se termine este juicio, porque yo ya vine 3 veces y yo no puedo estar perdiendo en el trabajo.
Yo
Quiero una respuesta que me la den hoy, porque yo me siento que no soy culpable del accidente que tuve.
I just want to put an end to this because I've been coming here for 3 times and I cannot miss any more time of work and I feel that I'm not guilty for the accident that happened.
Okay, we'll put them down for a not guilty.
Okay, entonces no culpable, ahorita lo van a poner no culpable, ahorita le van a llamar de nuevo para que haga el juicio, okay?
Okay.
And I'm sorry, Ms. Ada and Mayor Rose, one of the witnesses is here today in the courtroom as well.
is that?
Maria Tinoco?
Noco?
María Tinoco, ok, está bien.
All right, we'll get them first on the list for trials.
Ok, ahorita nos vamos a dentro de un ratito vamos a llamar su caso para el juicio, señor Pineda.
Okay.
Ok.
You can have a seat. You can have a seat.
Okay.
Sir,
Thank
come on. What was your name again, sir?
Ricardo Small.
Small. Okay, we have Mr. Ricardo Small.
Okay, I got him on page 5. Mr. Small,
Good morning.
good morning, sir. You're up for a trial this morning. Do you plan on proceeding with your not guilty, please?
Ready for trial.
Okay. We're gonna put you down for not guilty. We're gonna do that as number 2. And in reference to William Rowland, is Mr. Rowland on the Zoom or present in court?
No one here in court.
Okay. All right, it's 8:18. Stand by, Mr. Small. We'll come back to you in a second, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we have Mr. Joseph Stewart, who was originally scheduled. He just wants to make a NOLO plea.
Okay. And Madam Clerk, forgive me because I know this was an add-on, but I don't have any information on the actual charge and the fine amount.
It's driving with suspended tag, first offense.
And that fine is,
Hold on one moment. And he does qualify for NOLO.
okay?
Is that fine amount $760?
You said this is.
Yes,
a
it
first
is.
offense, correct? Yes. So
Yes.
760. All right, Mr. Stewart, it looks like that you are eligible for the NOLO. This charge is a suspendable offense. The NOLO will stop your license from being suspended. The total fine is $760. Are you able to pay that in 2 weeks or do you need longer?
Longer.
Okay. And Mr. Stewart, could we get your email address? We're going to send you information on how to make that payment over time via email along with your plea document or information. Well, actually, Ms. Green, he'll be signing that before he leaves there today, correct?
That's correct.
But we do need to forward you information on the paying the fine amount. So if you could leave your email address there with Ms. Green so that we can forward that information to you also, okay? Once you've done that, then you're free to go. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, as we also have one, Mr. Terrence Bacchus. For some reason, he was left off. He was left off of the docket, but he is supposed to be on the trial calendar this morning. And the ladies have his information.
Okay, can you spell that name for me, please?
B-A-C-C-H-U-S. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. B-A-C-H-U-S,
C-H-U-S.
okay. And first name is Terrence.
Yes, sir.
And he does qualify for a NOLO plea.
What is that charge? What was he charged with?
Traffic control device.
Okay. Is that 175?
Want to try?
165.
165. All right, Mr. Bacchus, in reference to your particular charge, did you want to proceed with the trial or are you changing your plea to guilty or NOLO?
I wanted to proceed with the trial, sir. I've been here 4 times already.
Okay, no worries. We got you. We'll put you down here, 3rd in line for trials, okay?
Okay.
All right. Who else we got in there, Ms. Green?
That is it in the courtroom.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back to the start of the calendar by calling the calendar. If or when you hear your name, please unmute and tell us what you plan on doing as far as moving forward with your case. And then once you're done talking, you can place yourself back on mute, okay? So the first person I have on the calendar is Linda Clay. Linda Clay. Ms. Clay, you're on mute. Take yourself off mute, please.
I'm here.
Well, you put yourself back on mute. Press that microphone. There you go.
Okay.
All right. So, Ms. Clay, what is your plea to the charge?
I guess I'm guilty because, but I didn't have a child. That was her child. She told them that she was gonna pay it, and they gave her the ticket. I didn't know my name was on the ticket.
Okay. When you said her, who are you talking about?
The girl that had the child in the car,
Okay. What's her name?
Tatiana Murray.
Tatiana Murray is not on our calendar, I do not believe.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't know the ticket was for me, but when he handed it through the window, he handed it to her.
Okay. Ms. Clay, you were driving the vehicle, correct?
Yes.
All right. So the ticket would be for you if you were driving the vehicle because you're responsible for everybody in the car. So in reference to this charge, are you pleading guilty to the charge or?
Yeah, I guess so, yes.
All right. What is that fine amount, Ms. Yates?
$50.
All right, let's see here, Ms. Clay. All right, Ms. Clay, it looks like you haven't received a ticket since 2015. This is a minor offense that carries no points. But based on your driving history and the fact that I believe that you probably would have made sure somebody was buckled in, I'm going to dismiss this charge. You're free to go, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Jimmy Cunningham. Mr. Cunningham, I believe you're on mute also. There you go.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Cunningham, you were charged with following too close. This was an accident, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And what is your plea to that charge?
I'm gonna say I really don't know what to plea. I did hit the lady from behind, but I don't think it was my fault.
Okay. So we'll just put you down for not guilty. And
yes, sir.
So we got you down for not guilty. And I'm going to announce for Michelle Delgado. Michelle Delgado. All right. That witness is not present, and it is 8:25. We'll come back to you, Mr. Cunningham.
Yes, sir.
Deshaun Danielle, this matter was reset, correct? Danielle Kirkland.
Hi.
Yes.
I had received a notice of dismissal, so I wasn't sure, but when I said something about
Is that the case? Oh, I'm sorry.
When I said something about it last time, they didn't know what I was talking about, but I have a picture of it and everything.
You said you received something from the court saying your case was dismissed?
Yes.
Is there any way that you can forward that to the court right now while we're on the Zoom?
Yeah. How do I send that?
You said you have a picture, right?
How can I?
Just attach your picture to an email.
Okay.
And then if you can just place yourself on mute, send that to us. We'll double check on that. We'll come back to you, okay?
Ms. Kirkland, I sent you the email address through the chat.
Ayana Marbury,
Good morning, Your Honor.
good morning, and thank you for the compliment, but I am not the judge. I appreciate it anyway. So Ms. Marbury, you were charged with failure to yield right away. Was this an accident also?
Failure to yield at a right of way?
Yes.
I thought that,
Failure to yield the right of way to an emergency vehicle.
yes, yes. I'm pleading not guilty.
All right. Thank you. We'll come back to you in a second. Corrine O'Connor,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor, what is your plea to your 2 tickets?
No.
Okay. Can we check and see if Ms. O'Connor is eligible for a NOLO?
I couldn't locate a driver's license through the state of Georgia.
Oh, Ms. O'Connor, do you have a Georgia license?
Yes. I just had to get my license. It just expired, so I had to go back up there and get it.
I'm gonna send you a chat if you can respond to it.
Okay.
Was that for me or for Ms. O'Connor?
I'm sorry, from Ms. O'Connor.
Okay. All right. So just respond to that chat, Ms. O'Connor. We'll come back to you, okay?
Okay.
Robin Pearsall.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Pearsall, you were charged with a traffic control device citation. What is your plea to the charge, ma'am?
You said traffic control device?
Correct. So that could have been like a stop sign, a red light, a yield sign.
Correct. Not guilty, ready for trial.
All right. Ms. Green, or I'm sorry, Ms. Yates, can you guys tell me, is this the first time this was on?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Ms. Pearsall, we're going to reset you because this being the first time on trial, Trooper Chavez is actually in training, so he has a valid legal conflict. We're going to reset you for another date when he is not in training. Do we have your email address, Ms. Pearsall?
I'm not sure. Let me, I can send it.
Well, you can just tell me. I'll write it down right now.
Okay, it's RD
Mhm.
PEARSALL at
Okay.
Hotmail.
You're going a little too fast for me. RDPEAR.
AR
Okay.
SALL
SALL.
at hotmail.com.
At Hotmail.
And Your Honor, this is my second time here.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
I'm showing that you had an arraignment, and this is the first time that this case has came to the
Yes.
trial.
So when we say first time on, we're talking about the first time having to appear at trial. Whenever officers have legal excuses to not be at trial, we will continue them one time. If they're not available the second time, then we dispose of the case. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So you can go ahead and disengage. Ms. Pearsall, we have your email address. We're going to send you another Zoom notice on the new court date. And Trooper Chavez should be here at that point. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andreas,
Yes.
this is Lakia. We received Ms. Kirkland's letter. It states the city of Jonesboro. This is Forest Park.
Okay. So Miss Kirkland, did you hear that? So the notice that you received was from Jonesboro, not from our court. So that was a ticket that whatever they did with that ticket in Jonesboro. This is Forest Park.
Okay. They never sent me a ticket though. That's the only thing I had received. And it was from the same day as this ticket.
Well, we didn't dismiss your case. So that's what I'm trying to tell you that. But in any event, Officer Johnson, who is the officer who issued your citation, has a conflict. So we're going to reset your case. You may want to look into, before the next court date, you may want to look into that matter a bit more so you have full understanding. But from what you sent us, that was the city of Jonesboro, not the city of Forest Park. So your matter is still pending, okay? Miss Kirkland, can we get your email address so you can send you a reset?
Okay. You want me to send it in or tell you?
Just tell me.
It's KIRKLAND_DAN@yahoo.com.
All right, Ms. Kirkland, we have your email address. We'll be forwarding you a new court date. Just look out for that court date and log on at that time. The officer should be present and we'll take care of you then, okay?
Okay.
Just to note, Ms. Kirkland, you'll receive that reset letter in the mail, and it will be mailed to the address that was on the citation.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I have next Tavion Pope. Tavion Pope. That's an FTA. Christopher Reeves. Christopher Reeves. FTA. These are both at 833. Crystal Reyes. Crystal Reyes. FTA. Calvin Ross. Calvin Sanchez Ross. That's FTA. Jaleel Scott. Jaleel Scott. That's going to be an FTA. Is there Mark Haggerty, Jacqueline Clark, or Hope Freeman available? All right, not present. Christian Riley Simmons. Christian Riley Simmons. FTA. Salvador Vasquez.
Salvador Vasquez.
FTA. Ashley Wiley. Ashley Wiley. FTA. All right. Hey, Madam Clerk, can you tell me who was the officer on Terrence Bacchus?
Sparks, Sergeant Sparks.
Sparks. And what's the announcement on Sparks? Well, I guess he wouldn't have been told to be here since we left him off the calendar.
She had another case that was on the calendar.
Okay.
We've attempted contact.
All right. All right, so let's deal, we're going to deal with that. Mr. Bacchus, can you just come back up to the microphone real quick, or to the
He's
camera?
coming.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bacchus, we're going to dismiss your case for warrant of prosecution. Officer is not present. You are free to go. Please do make sure that you leave your email address with the court though, so that we can send you a copy of that disposition, okay?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And Mr. Small, I believe you're in the courtroom also.
Yes, sir.
Come on up. Mr. Small, William Rowland, I don't believe announced. Is William Rowland on the Zoom or in the courtroom?
He's not in here.
Okay. So, Mr. Sparks, we're going to dismiss your case for warrant of prosecution. You are free to go. Make sure that you leave your email address for the court. That way we can send you a copy of the disposition, okay?
Said Mr. Small or Mr. Sparks?
Small.
Mr. Small.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. And I'm working my way back. Yes, Knuckle is present. Training. Connor. Ms. O'Connor, did you indicate that, what was your plea, Ms. O'Connor?
Nolo.
Okay,
I'm still working on that, by the way.
okay, all right, I just wanted to make sure. All right, so I'll just hold on that one. Wait, right, termination this. All right. Dismiss that one. So it looks like I have Ellis, Officer Ellis, E. Ellis for Cunningham. And Officer I. Ellis for Marbury. And Officer Estrada for Pineda. All right, so E. Ellis, I. Ellis, and Estrada. All the E officers, well, the exception of Edwards, can be released because everybody else was FTA or reset. All right, so I just need I. Ellis, E. Ellis, and Officer Estrada. And we will continue with the trials accordingly.
L is here.
All right, I got you.
E. Ellis is here.
Got you also, Officer Ellis. And Estrada, you are, I see you're logged in. So Officer Edwards, you're good. Officer Holmes, you're good. Officer Green, you're good.
Solicitor,
Yes.
in reference to Ms. O'Connor,
Mhm.
I'm showing that she has no driver's history. Her driver's license is showing, well, actually, she has a Class CP, and it's showing expired as of 3/6/2021.
It's showing expired as of what date? I'm sorry.
March 6th, 2021.
Okay. And the offense date was September 6th, 2022. So Ms.
Excuse me.
O'Connor, yeah, Ms. O'Connor, it
Yes.
appears that when you got your license was after the citation date.
I do have a Louisiana permit, and that's what I came back out to Georgia on, because I stayed in Louisiana for about 4 months. So I had my Louisiana permit, and I came back out on my Louisiana permit. That was my Louisiana permit number, in which I just sent to her.
Okay. You're saying that the day that you got stopped on September 6th, 2022, you had a Louisiana driving permit.
Yes.
All right. Do you have a copy of that driving permit? Because it would have to actually be valid as of the date of the citation.
Yes, it is valid, but I currently do not have it on me. I'm at work. So,
Okay. So we would need that information. So what we're going to do is we're going to reset you so that you can provide and right now you have a permit, a Georgia permit.
If you hold on a moment,
yes,
I may be able
I just got my
to.
jurisdiction.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Yates.
I'm attempting to run her Louisiana.
Okay, okay. We'll hold just a little bit longer for you, Ms. O'Connor, okay?
Okay.
Judge Freeman?
Yes, sir. We ready?
Judge Freeman, we are ready to proceed with, actually, I'm sorry, I missed this one. Forgive me, Mr. Cunningham. Mr. Cunningham, let me announce one more time, Michelle Delgado. Michelle Delgado. All right, Mr. Cunningham, this case is going to be dismissed for want of prosecution. The witness in that matter is not present. I know we announced for her previously, and I don't know how I overlooked releasing you with all the others, but can I get your email address, Mr. Cunningham?
Yes, sir. It's JIMMYCUNNINGHAM63@gmail.com.
All right, Mr. Cunningham, we have that. This matter is being dismissed for want of prosecution. We will email you the disposition of that matter at the email address that you've given us. You can go ahead and disengage, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. Thank
No
you.
worries, sir. Have a good day.
You have a blessed day as well, sir.
All right. And Officer E. Ellis, I believe that was, let me just make sure. Yep, I believe that one was the only one that we were holding for you. So you are now released. Officer E. Ellis.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So Judge, we are now looking at the first trial being for Miss Marbury. This is Officer I. Ellis, and it's a failure to yield a right of way to an emergency vehicle.
Okay. Ms. Marbury,
Yes, Your Honor.
let me have you to unmute. You are in the Forest Park Municipal Court, and this is our trial division. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Momentarily, the prosecutor will call the case for trial, which he has. I will swear in the witnesses, but I want to be sure, number one, that you understand your rights, and number two, that you understand this process. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
So the prosecution has the burden of proof, and they must prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You had the right to be represented by an attorney at this proceeding. You have elected to represent yourself. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You also understand that if an adverse judgment is entered against you in this courtroom, you have the right to appeal that decision to a higher court. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You understand pending the appeal, whatever judgment is entered, you must carry out that judgment in this court. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that because the city has the burden of proof, they present their evidence first? Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You will have an opportunity to question every witness that's called against you. And once the city rests its case, you have the right to present your evidence, which can include testimony, witnesses, and/or documentary evidence. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Once I have heard from both sides, I will make a decision regarding your guilt or your innocence. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions before we begin?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 27 years old.
Okay. I'm going to ask everyone that's going to testify to please raise your right hand. If you're going to testify, Ms. Mabry, you'd want to raise your right hand as well. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right. Everyone that's on this call, except for the police officers and Madam Interpreter, and let me have you to please type your name and your email address in the chat and send it to FPMC if you've not already done so. Your full name and your email address, type it in the chat and send it to FPMC. All right. Mr. Prosecutor, you want to go ahead and call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor. On May 6, 2022, Ms. Marbury received a citation for failure to yield to an emergency vehicle. Officer I. Ellis issued that citation. Officer Ellis, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. Marbury?
Yes.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, it was.
Are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
Yes.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
We responded to a car accident near 1409 Rockwood Road in front of the 365 grocery store Food Mart. While the vehicle was being removed, we had a tree that needed to be removed. So Public Works
Okay,
and
we'll just reset her. Okay,
Ms. Yates,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Officer Ellis.
and so we had Public Works and Fire remove a vehicle, and we were still waiting for the tree to get cleared because it was blocking the entire roadway. So in order to allow them to do what they had to do, we had patrol vehicles set up on both sides of the tree with all the lights going so people could know when we were outside of our vehicles, so we could direct traffic around that area or direct them to go back the opposite way until the road was clear. When I made contact with Miss Mari, I believe.
Miss Marbury.
Yes.
It's Miss
So when
Mabry. Let me
Mabry,
just ask you, young lady, how do you pronounce your last name?
Mabry.
Yeah, her name is Miss Mabry.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so when I made contact with Miss Mabry, the reason for the contact, because she drove past the emergency vehicles with the lights indicating that we were right there. She almost ran into the tree and could have struck a firefighter that was working on it. So we went ahead and went to her, made contact, told her to pull into the parking lot.
26. Can you
Let her-
copy a signal 45?
Thank you. Sorry, Officer Ellis, go ahead.
Yes. So we had her pull into the parking lot and informed her what she did. And she don't quite remember what she said, but I know I informed her what she did. And it was a reason that we were right there and that she could have struck a firefighter. And if she didn't strike a firefighter, she was going to be the next vehicle to hit that tree that was down. And I informed her she was being cited, and I cited her for failure to yield for emergency vehicle.
All right, no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Mabry, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer?
I would like to ask why there weren't any safety cones around, because from my perspective, I read the flashlight signals as going around and not turning around, and that's where the miscommunication came from.
So let me get you to do this. This is the phase where you ask questions. So why don't you frame it as a question? And when you testify, you can tell me why you did what you did.
Yes, Your Honor.
So go ahead. Do you have a question you'd like to ask him?
Officer, was there a time where you all had the street blocked off with cones, or was it just simply the emergency vehicles with the light on?
It was yes, it was our persons with safety vests. The cones were more near the tree for the workers to remove that tree because we had live lines down. So it was a lot of hazards that was in place near that tree. So our vehicles and our persons with flashlights, our vehicles were the main deterrent. And us with safety vests and the flashlights was to let people know, hey, you can't go in this area because we have a tree down and we also have live wires down and we have workers working in the dark trying to get that stuff cleared out the roadway.
Okay, understood.
Mhm.
No further questions.
All right. Does the city have any further evidence?
No further evidence, Judge. City rests.
All right, Ms. Mabry, the city has rested its case. You now can present your case. You can testify. If there was a witness with you, they can testify, and or if you have any documentary evidence you'd like for the court to inspect, you can introduce it at this time. So go ahead.
So that night I was leaving my best friend's house that she stays on Old Rock Cut Road. I take that route to get to 75 every time I leave. And I remember there was a really bad storm that night. The wind had knocked out the power on the street. And so I was driving with my brights on, and I had come to where where the emergency vehicles were parked. I saw the lights and I slowed down to take heed to the flashlight directions that the other officer that was present was giving. And I read that as going around. I didn't know that she was telling me to turn around. Otherwise, I would have gone in the opposite direction. And as I proceeded, that's when I saw that the tree was there. And because the power was knocked out, I couldn't see any of that. I'd only seen the emergency lights. And when I stopped, I was instructed to back up and pull into the parking lot of the food mart. And that is when Officer Ellis approached me and let me know what had happened. Had I known what was going on in that street, I definitely would have taken more caution. But I definitely did yield to the vehicle. I just happened to misread the flashlight instructions to go around versus turning around. And that was the error on my part.
Does the prosecution have any questions?
I don't, Judge.
All right. Ms. Mabry, you have entered a not guilty plea. Well, first, Ms. Mabry, do you rest your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You have entered a not guilty plea to failure to obey the directives of the police officer. The court does find you guilty of the violation. I am going to reduce this to a basic rules violation because I do think there are some mitigating circumstances in this. I'm going to reduce this to a basic rules violation, and the court will impose a $100 fine, and that will close this matter out. But the basic rules will keep this off your record. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Have you typed your name and email in the chat?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Yates, do we have Ms. Mabry's information?
Yes, we do.
All right, Ms. Mabry, what you will receive within close of business tomorrow is your plea form to which you would have entered a not guilty plea. You then will receive the court order showing that you were found guilty. The charge was reduced down to a basic rules, and you are to pay a fine of $100. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, well, thank you, and you can disengage from the call.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Judge Freeman,
Yes.
could you advise if she's paying within 2 weeks or?
Yes, Ms. Mabry, I'm sorry. Thank you, Ms. Yates. Are you able to satisfy the payment within 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
Yes, Your Honor. 2 weeks is fine.
All right, yes, we will send her a 2-week agreement, Ms. Yates. Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, you want to call your next matter for trial, Mr. Prosecutor? And Ms. Mabry, you can disengage from the call. Thank you.
Yes, Judge, this is going to be, well, let me ask really quickly, Ms. Yates, the status on Ms. O'Connor?
It appears we may need to reset her.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so Ms. O'Connor, I do believe. All right.
And let me ask Ms. O'Connor, I heard her say she had a Louisiana permit. Were there any restrictions on that permit regarding her driving?
I just had to have a person in the vehicle over 18 with me. And
Who
I
was
did.
licensed? Who was licensed, I imagine?
Yes, who was also licensed, yes.
And was there a person 18 years or older in the vehicle with you?
Yes, there was
And
a man.
I would recommend that when you come back for trial that you have that person with you, because I don't want you to have any issues with your Louisiana license, okay?
Well, Judge, so she has a
Okay.
Georgia license now.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
issue that we were trying to resolve was whether the Louisiana license was valid at the time that she received the ticket back in September of 2022. So that's going to take a little research for us.
Okay.
We're resetting her. She
All
entered
right.
a plea of nolo. We just wanted to, but because she just got her Georgia driver's license, we want to be careful with that.
Okay, that'll be fine. Okay, young lady, have you typed your name and email address in the chat, or have you provided it?
I will do that now.
Type your name and your email address in the chat and send it to FPMC. You want to go on to your next case, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor. So this one is going to be the interpreter's case, Mr. Pineda.
Señor Pineda, Your Honor, may I please instruct the witness and the defendant how to use an interpreter, because I have two. There is a witness and defendant that need interpreting, and they're both at the courtroom.
Yes, if you will go ahead and do that.
Okay, señor Pineda y señora María Tinoco, es muy importante que espere siempre que se diga lo que se va a decir en inglés y que yo interprete antes de ustedes contestar para poder escucharnos y no hablar uno encima del otro. También es muy importante que por favor hable claro y fuerte para oírlo, y también es importante que cuando vaya a decir algo que sea largo, usted lo haga en oraciones cortas, que no vaya a decir demasiadas cosas, porque a veces se pierde el sonido en Zoom y entonces voy a tener que pedirle que lo repita. Entonces siempre en oraciones cortas y hable alto, por favor. Gracias. And may I remind the officer Estrada to please pause to allow me to interpret for the witness and the defendant, and preferably do this in short sentences because sometimes the audio, is not that great. So that way I don't have to ask for many repetitions, please.
And
Thank you,
Judge,
Madam
could we go ahead-
Interpreter.
Could we go ahead and release Officer Ellis?
Yes, we can. Officer Ellis, you can be released, sir, and thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Everyone, can I please have the witness and Senor Pineda to please raise their right hand?
La testigo y el señor Pineda, por favor, levante su mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm
¿Usted jura o afirma?
Can we pause a second, Officer Estrada? I don't know if they're available. Officer Estrada, we need your camera on. There we go. All right. I'm sorry, Judge.
Let me have you to please raise your right hand. Everyone that's going to testify, do you swear or affirm
¿Usted jura o afirma?
that the testimony you're about to give
El testimonio que va a presentar ahora
is the truth
es la verdad
and nothing but the truth?
y nada más que la verdad.
So help you God.
¿Lo jura por Dios?
If so, say I do.
Y si usted dice esto, diga que sí lo jura.
You all can put your hands down.
Yes, I do. Y puede bajar la mano. Asegúrese de hablar fuerte los dos, por favor, porque no se les puede oír a veces. Puede bajar la mano, señor Pineda. Ok, ¿me puede oír o no me puede oír, señor Pineda?
¿Cómo?
¿Me puede oír?
Sí.
Ok, entonces baje la mano.
Oh, thank you.
All right. You want to go ahead and present your case, Mr. Prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, on August 7th of 2022, Mr. Pineda received a citation for improper backing.
El 2 de agosto del 2022, el señor Pineda recibió una citación por retroceder indebidamente.
The 7th, August
Oh,
7th.
7. Okay, I have the 8th here, but I'm sorry. On the calendar, I have the 8th.
Oh. Yeah, citation says the 7th. Okay.
Oh, okay, sorry. El 7 de julio, el señor Pineda recibió recibió una citación por de retroceder indebidamente.
This was within the city limits of Forest Park.
Esto ocurrió en los límites de la ciudad de Forest Park.
Officer Estrada issued that citation.
El agente Estrada fue el que emitió esa citación.
Officer Estrada, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Mr. Pineda?
Al señor agente Estrada, en esa situación que se indica, ¿usted tuvo la oportunidad de hablar con el señor, comunicarse con el señor Pineda?
Yes, I did.
Sí, sí lo hice.
Was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Ese contacto fue entre la ciudad, en los límites de la ciudad de Forest Park.
It was.
Sí, sí, así fue.
Are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
Usted es un agente que está certificado post, y él dijo que sí.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
Por favor, ¿nos puede hablar brevemente de cómo fue esta comunicación con él?
When I came into contact with Mr. Encarnacion,
Cuando me comuniqué con el señor Encarnación,
he had called about an accident that occurred at the driveway of his residence.
él llamó porque había ocurrido un accidente en la entrada del garaje donde él vive.
The accident actually occurred off the property in the roadway in front of his driveway.
En realidad el accidente no ocurrió no en la propiedad de él, sino afuera de la propiedad de él, enfrente de donde se encuentra la entrada a la casa de él.
So Mr. Encarnacion told me that he was backing up to leave the property.
El señor Encarnación me dijo que él estaba retrocediendo para salir de la propiedad de él.
When a vehicle was fast approaching his driveway.
Cuando un vehículo estaba pasando bastante rápido y se estaba acercando a la entrada de la propiedad de él.
When I spoke to the other driver stated that.
Cuando hablé con el otro conductor, ese conductor dijo lo siguiente.
The driver stated that he was coming around the curb on the 5100 block of Phillips Drive.
Él dijo, ese conductor dijo que estaba acercándose a la manzana de 1500 de Phillips Drive.
when he said the vehicle came out from nowhere from the driveway.
Y entonces este conductor dijo que el vehículo salió salió de repente de la entrada a la propiedad del señor.
Causing his vehicle to collide with his in the roadway.
Lo que hizo que chocara el vehículo de él con el vehículo que estaba en la carretera.
Officer Estrada, let me ask you, because you keep referring to the other individual involved in the accident as he. Did you take a statement from a gentleman at any point in reference to this accident, other than Mr.
Señor agente Estrada, ¿usted se refiere al otro conductor o a la otra persona como él? ¿Usted en algún momento le tomó la declaración a ese otro conductor?
I did take a verbal statement from him that was recorded on my body cam.
Yo sí le tomé una declaración a él verbal que fue grabada en la cámara que llevó conmigo.
Was there anybody else on the scene that was involved in the accident as you were informed?
Había otra persona que en el lugar de los hechos que estaba involucrado, implicado en este accidente que usted le informaron.
Yes, it was, I believe, the Mr. Pineda's grandson was in his vehicle as well.
Creo que sí, el nieto del señor Pineda también estaba en el vehículo con él.
Were there any females involved in the accident that you're aware of?
I apologize.
¿Hubo alguna mujer que estaba implicada en el accidente según lo que usted sabe?
Yes, I apologize. The driver is a female, not a male.
Sí, me disculpan. El conductor era una mujer, no un hombre.
Okay, I just want to make sure of that. All right, no further questions for this witness, Judge.
Okay, no tiene más preguntas para este testigo de la fiscalía.
All right, can we please ask Ms. Pineda, Mr. Pineda, if he has any questions of the police officer?
Señor Pineda, ¿tiene alguna pregunta que le quiera hacer al oficial Estrada?
Pues la pregunta es de que pues como le repetí ahora, de que yo en este accidente yo no me siento culpable.
The question is, like I said before, that I don't feel guilty in this accident, and
Y lo segundo es de que no sé por qué el oficial que llegó allí, me dio el ticket a mí. Es que yo iba saliendo de retroceso. Cuando yo iba saliendo de retroceso, yo he visto y no venía nadie.
And then I don't understand. The second thing is that I don't understand why the officer gave the ticket to me, because when I was backing away, I didn't see anybody coming.
Y después, pues, cuando yo retrocedí y estaba haciendo mi cambio para salir para adelante, fue que yo sentí el golpe.
And then after I backed down, I back off to get out of the driveway. That's when I already had done that. That's when I felt that something hit me.
Judge, I believe that Mr. Pineda was done with his question, I think, or statement.
Ya terminó el señor Piñeda de dar su declaración.
And I've identified them and want to, of course,
Give me
take
one
them
second.
through a training process. Part of that training process, I would envision would be
And Mr. Mary Rose, you were right. I was just switching I was reading the date the Spanish way. I'm sorry. It's August 7. You know, that I always have to be careful because, you know, when people
Write it backwards, yeah.
yeah, you know, so wait a minute. And I say, what? Okay. So, you know, especially when they're that close, you know, say, I thought I read that. And then I look at it and say, wait a minute. That's the English, you know, way of doing it. So,
Yeah, you had me questioning what I was seeing.
sorry.
Okay, you all, thank you. I heard what was said. I heard what Mr. Pineda said. Does the city have any other witnesses?
Oí lo que dijo el señor Pineda, le está preguntando el juez a la fiscalía si tiene otro testigo.
Yes, Judge, the city would call Maria Tinoco.
Ok, llamamos a la testigo María Tinoco.
Sí, soy yo.
Ok, señor Pineda, si se puede arrimar un poquito para que la testigo se ponga más enfrente del, ok, para yo oírla mejor, ok, está bien.
Right, Ms. Tinoco, on the date of the accident, which was August 7th, 2022, were you driving a vehicle that was impacted by the car Mr. Pineda was driving?
Señora Tinoco, cuando ocurrió el incidente, que fue el 7 de agosto de 2022, ¿usted estaba manejando un carro que fue impactado por el vehículo que el señor Pineda estaba manejando?
Sí, su señoría.
¿Perdón?
Sí.
Yes.
And could you state to the court how the accident occurred from your position?
Y le puede decir al juez cómo ocurrió el accidente desde su punto, desde su postura donde usted estaba. Asegúrese de hablar duro para yo poder oír, para poder interpretar, ¿ok?
Sí.
Yes.
Yo estaba haciendo stop en Ewing Drive, que es por donde yo vivo.
Okay, I was stopping in Ewing Drive, which is where I live.
Y iba a ser una derecha.
And I was going to turn right.
No venía carro, di mi derecha.
There was no car coming, I turned right.
Cuando casi llegaba al donde el buzón del señor, él salió y fue que me pegó.
And almost when I was getting the area where the mailbox of the gentleman is located, then he came out and then he hit me.
Okay. No further questions for this witness, Judge?
No tengo más preguntas para este
Ask
testigo.
Senor Pineda, does he have any questions he'd like to ask this witness?
Señor Pineda, ¿tiene preguntas para esta testigo?
Pues mire, la pregunta es de que yo venía con mi nieto, pero él no vino porque está en la high school, no puede perder las clases.
The question is that I was coming with my
de-
grandson. He couldn't come because he was in high school and he couldn't miss school. Continúe, señor Pineda.
Pero lo
Continúe.
que le quiero decir es de que como dice ella, yo le pegué a ella, ¿cómo le voy a pegar si yo retrocedí, me he parado y cuando salí, cuando yo arranqué, ella ahí se fue a detener a mi troca?
Then how is it possible that I hit her? Because I was already stopped when she came and I didn't hit her. And then she came into my truck.
Yo estoy diciendo la realidad, yo no estoy mintiendo, estoy diciendo
am-
la verdad.
I am telling the truth. I am not lying. I'm telling the truth.
Judge, I have some questions for Mr. Pineda.
El fiscal le va a hacer unas preguntas, señor Piñeda.
Does the city rest its case?
Judge, yes, well, I do have some questions in reference to his testimony.
Okay. I thought he was asking her questions. Was he testifying?
He made he more so made a statement. He started with a question and then he made.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah,
Let me just ask Mr. Pineda this, to limit what he's doing now to questions. And then once the city has rested, he will have a chance to say what happened. So
Señor
ask him,
Pineda.
does he have any other questions of this witness?
Señor Piñeda, ahorita lo que está haciendo es haciendo preguntas al testigo en forma de pregunta, no nos está diciendo su versión de los hechos. Cuando el fiscal termine de presentar el caso, usted tiene derecho a decirnos su versión de los hechos, pero ahora tiene alguna pregunta. Una pregunta es cuando uno hace una pregunta y hay una respuesta. ¿Tiene alguna pregunta para el testigo?
Pues allí no había vecinos, nomás solo
No,
yo.
no. La pregunta, tiene una pregunta para la testigo. Una pregunta es cuando uno hace una pregunta y la otra persona va a responder algo. Usted puede decir su versión después, pero ahorita tiene preguntas para el testigo.
Oh, no.
No, I don't have, I have to explain what a question was, Your Honor, so no, I don't have any questions.
Excuse me, Your Honor. The other witness was here. I was not aware that she was. She came in and said that she was interpreting for Miss Maria, but her name is Gina.
She's interpreting for who?
Well, she initially said that she was going to be interpreting for her. So I did not get her name. She is Miss Gina Saucedo, and she's actually one of the witnesses.
Ok, que ahora tenemos otro testigo, que es la señorita que venía a interpretar a la señorita Tinoco, pero resulta que ella también fue testigo y se llama la señorita Gina Salcedo.
Judge, let me just verify, Ms. Salcedo was
Can
in
we-
the vehicle at the time of the accident.
Señorita Salcedo, usted estaba, okay, does she need an interpreter? Does she need an interpreter, señorita Salcedo?
Judge, I believe, I mean, I believe that we do need to interpret, even if she speaks English, just so that we have the other two individuals understanding where we're going with this.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're gonna question her, are you gonna do it in Spanish or English? Directly. Are you gonna use me to ask the questions to her? I think we should better do that.
Yeah, just to translate
Okay.
the others, yes.
Okay.
But so my question was, Ms. Salcedo, were you involved in the accident? Were you in the vehicle with, or in another vehicle that was involved in the accident, or in the vehicle with Miss Tinoco?
Señora Salcedo, la pregunta es, ¿usted estaba involucrado o implicada en este accidente? ¿Estaba en el vehículo con la señora Tinoco o venía en otro vehículo?
I was in the car with my mom and my two kids.
Estaba en el carro con mi mamá y los dos niños.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. We do need to swear her in, Judge, if she's going to testify.
All right. Who is her mother?
Ms. Tinoco.
Okay, that's what I wanted to understand. All right.
Okay.
Young lady, let me have you to please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do. All right. Thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, you were questioning witnesses. Do you have any other witnesses that you want to question?
Yes, Your Honor, the city would call Ms. Salcedo. Ms. Salcedo, on the date in question, were you in a vehicle that was involved in a motor vehicle accident with Mr. Pineda?
Señorita Salcedo, el momento en que ocurrió este incidente, ¿usted estaba involucrado o implicada en alguno de los vehículos cuando ocurrió este accidente, el día que ocurrió el accidente? Señorita Salcedo, tiene que hablar fuerte porque no la podemos escuchar. Sí.
And was the driver of the other vehicle the gentleman who is standing to your right, Mr. Pineda?
Y el conductor del otro vehículo es la persona que se encuentra ahora a su derecha, el señor Piñeda.
Yes.
Sí.
All right. Can you tell the court how the accident occurred from your position?
¿Usted le puede decir al juez cómo ocurrió el accidente desde donde se encontraba usted, desde su postura?
So from what I remember, we were getting out of our street.
Lo que recuerdo es que estábamos saliendo de la calle de nuestra calle.
So we were at a stop sign
Estábamos paradas en una señal de alto.
and on the right was where his house was.
Y a la derecha era donde se encontraba la casa de él.
And right next to the mailbox, there was a big bush.
Y al lado del buzón, de ahí había un arbusto grande.
So when we took the turn, right, we could see both ways. We took
I'm
the,
sorry, can you repeat that again?
we were at the stop sign and we could see both ways.
Oh, estábamos en el alto y podíamos ver las dos vías.
And so when the accident occurred, we only had seconds to react.
Cuando el accidente ocurrió, solamente tuvimos segundos para reaccionar.
And when the police arrived and told us to pull into the driveway,
Cuando la policía llegó y nos dijo que nos estacionáramos ahí en la entrada de la casa,
when I looked to my left,
cuando vi a mi izquierda,
I couldn't see our stop sign to our street.
no podía ver el alto, el signo de alto a nuestra calle.
So when we took the right, the other car pulled out. I'm assuming they couldn't see our street.
Entonces, cuando nosotros nos volteamos, giramos a la derecha, me imagino que entonces el otro carro no podía ver la calle, porque por esto.
Okay, let me just make sure that I understand what you're saying.
Déjeme asegurarme que entiendo lo que está diciendo.
When you guys took the right, you were then on the road that Mr. Pineda's house is on. Is that correct?
Entonces, cuando usted cuando usted volteó a la derecha, usted se encontraba en la calle donde se encuentra la casa del señor Piñeda. ¿Es eso correcto?
Yes.
Yes.
The distance
Sí.
between the right turn and Mr. Pineda's driveway was not very far. Is that correct?
Yes.
Entonces, la distancia que había entre la calle cuando voltearon a la derecha y la entrada a la casa del señor Piñeda no quedaba muy lejos, era una distancia corta, ¿correcto?
Yes.
Sí.
By the time you guys turned onto the road and proceeded forward, Mr. Pineda had backed out almost immediately.
Cuando ustedes voltearon a la derecha y siguieron adelante, entonces ya el señor Pineda había retrocedido inmediatamente.
Yes.
Sí.
No further questions, Judge.
No tengo más preguntas.
All right. Mr.
Puedo hacer
Senor
una
Pineda, do
pregunta?
you have any questions you'd like to ask her?
Señor Piñeda, ¿tiene preguntas que usted quiera hacerle a ella? Preguntas.
No, porque yo a ella no le puedo preguntar a nada, porque todo lo que ha venido a decir esta niña y lo que ha dicho ella, todo eso es puro falso, señorita.
Okay, no,
Porque
I
todo
cannot,
ella,
I
todo la
cannot ask
señora
her any
iba
questions
en su
to
lane.
them because what they have saying, all they're saying, this lady and the other lady, everything is false.
Okay, so
Continúe,
ask
señor
him,
Pineda.
does he have any questions? This is the
Señor Pi-
phase where if he has a question, he needs to ask it.
Ok, esta es la parte del juicio donde si usted tiene preguntas para estos testigos, las puede hacer. Este es el momento de hacerlas. ¿Tiene alguna pregunta para estos testigos?
Pues de qué me sirve preguntarle a ella, pues como le repito, está mintiendo la niña y ella está mintiendo también.
Ajá,
Yo sí vengo aquí a la corte, señorita, yo vengo aquí, pero yo no vengo a mentir, vengo
Ok.
a decir lo cierto, pero esto es falso lo que han venido a decir ella.
It doesn't gonna
Porque
do me
solo
any,
ella,
it doesn't
ella
gonna do me
solita iba en la
any,
ven.
señor Piñeda, usted tiene que parar para yo poder interpretar. Si usted no para, yo no puedo interpretar. Ok, tiene que tomarlo en pausas, por favor. What good is it gonna do to me if I come here and ask him any question because whatever they're saying, it's false. What this young lady and this other lady are saying is false. I come here to court to find out what's going on.
Okay.
And I come here to tell the truth.
Please explain to Ms. Senor Pineda that he will have an opportunity to tell me what happened, but at this phase of the case, he has the right to ask questions. If he has no questions, just simply say, Judge, I have no questions.
Señor Pineda, este es el momento en que es su oportunidad para hacer preguntas en el proceso del juicio. En otro momento, después que terminemos aquí, usted tiene la oportunidad de decirme todo lo que pasó. Pero si no tiene preguntas para estos testigos, simplemente tiene que decir no tengo preguntas. O si tiene preguntas, les hace preguntas a ellos. ¿Tiene preguntas?
Pues la pregunta que le voy a hacer aquí, ahorita a ella, ¿por qué están mintiendo y han traído testigos falsos?
Okay,
la
the
pregunta,
question
¿qué es
that
la
I am
respuesta a ella?
the question that I'm going to ask her right now is why are they lying and why did they brought a false witness?
Okay. Tell him that that is not a proper question. Tell him that he can ask her questions about her testimony, but he cannot call her a liar.
Esa no es una pregunta adecuada. Usted no le puede hacer esa pregunta porque no es apropiado. Usted no puede decir eso, pero puede hacerle preguntas acerca del testimonio que ella ha dado. Esas preguntas sí las puede hacer, pero no las puede llamar mentirosas, sino simplemente puede hacerle preguntas acerca de lo que ellas han testificado. ¿Tiene preguntas, señor Pineda?
Pues la pregunta, la última pregunta es que se la voy a hacer, es de que me van a dar de definición este caso ya, porque como le repetí, a mí en el trabajo ni me quieren dar permiso ya para estar perdiendo trabajo. Ya me
Okay,
dijeron,
my question is, the final question is, they're going to give a resolution to this case because at work, they don't want to give me any more time off to come here to waste the time and be here.
So I'm going to interpret all of Mr. Pineda's statements to be that he has no additional questions. So does the city have any other witnesses?
Entonces, voy a interpretar lo que dice el señor Piñeda como que no tiene más preguntas. ¿La fiscalía tiene algún otro testigo?
City rested.
All right, the city has rested its case. Tell Senor Pineda he can now tell me what happened.
Ok, la fiscalía ya no va a presentar más testigos, señor Piñeda. Ahora dígame lo que va a pasar y haga pausa, señor Piñeda. No puede ponerse a decir de todo, tiene que dejarme interpretar, por favor. Diga su versión de los hechos ahora que es su turno.
ok.
Díganos pues la versión de lo que usted vio, si quiere decir algo.
No, pues quiero la definición del caso.
I just want the resolution of the case.
Ask him, does he want to tell us what happened?
¿Usted nos quiere decir qué fue lo que pasó?
¿Cómo?
¿Usted nos quiere decir qué fue lo que pasó?
¿Cómo no? No, ya no se lo repetí, pues.
Well, sure, I already repeated that.
No, tell him that this is his opportunity to say what happened. So please
No.
tell me what happened.
No, esta es la oportunidad que tiene ahora en este proceso legal para decirme qué fue lo que pasó. Por favor, dígame qué fue lo que pasó.
Pues como lo repito, lo que pasó, ella me pegó atrás. No fui yo de que le fui a pegar a ella.
Okay, what I said before, what happened was that she hit me from behind. I wasn't the one who hit her. Continúe. Continúe, señor Pineda.
Ask him, is there anything else he'd like to say?
¿Algo más que quiera decir, señor Pineda?
Sí, también. Solamente iba ella en su ven. Allí no iba otra persona. Como dice la niña aquí, que ella iba también allí. Nadie iba más, solo ella iba.
Okay, and also only her was going in the van. The young girl here wasn't in the van there like they said she was. She was not there in the van. Continúe.
Okay.
Continúe, señor Pineda. ¿Tiene algo más que decir?
Sí, cuando llegó, porque yo llamé a la policía. Cuando llegó la policía, todavía ella sola estaba en su ven. A ratito llegó un señor con de ella, conocido de ella, y ese introdució allí al policía.
Okay, then I was the one who called the police, and all the way until the police came. The whole time she was by herself. Then later on came a gentleman that was a acquaintance of the lady, and then he was the one talking to the police.
Okay. Does the prosecution have any questions?
La fiscalía tiene preguntas.
Sí, la otra pregunta es de que, como lo repito, aquí es una corte. Aquí uno tiene que venir a decir la verdad, menos a mentir, como lo estaban haciendo ella aquí, la niña. Eso es falso, señorita.
Okay, so then
hay un Dios en los cielos y no puedo estar pecando teniendo de juguete a Dios.
Okay, there is a court here, and we're supposed to come here and tell the truth, not to lie like they have. There is a God above, and that's a sin when you are not telling the truth.
Does the prosecution have any questions?
No questions, Judge.
Okay.
Ask Senor Pineda, ask
ahead,
Senor Pineda, where was the damage to his vehicle?
Señor Piñeda, ¿dónde fue el daño que se le dio, que se le creó a su vehículo? ¿En,
Es
en qué
atrás en el bumper.
in the back, on the bumper.
On the passenger side or on the driver's side?
¿En el lado del pasajero o en el lado del conductor?
Al lado derecho.
On the right side.
On the passenger side, is that
En
correct?
el lado del pasajero, ¿es eso correcto?
Sí, al
Yes.
lado pasajero.
Yes. on
Is
the
that the
passenger
only
side.
damage was to his right bumper, or was there any damage to the body part of his vehicle?
El único daño que hubo fue en el bumper o en el parachoques derecho, o hubo daño a la carrocería de su vehículo.
En el bumper la tapadera del baúl está dañada.
The bumper and also the trunk is all damaged.
Ask him, was he backing out of a private driveway onto a public street?
¿Usted estaba retrocediendo de una propiedad privada a una carretera pública, a una calle pública?
¿Cómo?
Usted retrocedió de una propiedad privada y retrocedió a una carretera, a una calle que es pública.
Sí, yo retrocedí allí porque el parqueo lo tengo pegado con la calle.
Yes,
yo retrocedí, pero como cuando retrocedí, como le digo, a ella no, yo no vi a nadie que venía. Todavía
Okay.
mi nieto me dijo, abuelo me dijo que no viene nadie.
Okay, I did the backing from the property into the street, and I didn't see her that she was coming. In fact, my grandson said, "Yes, Grandpa, go ahead and go because nobody's coming." Your Honor, you are muted.
Ask him as he was backing out of his driveway at the point of impact, how far into the street was his vehicle?
Okay, cuando usted estaba retrocediendo en el momento en que usted le pegó al otro carro, ¿a qué distancia estaba de la entrada de su casa? ¿Qué parte de su vehículo estaba en la calle y qué parte estaba en la entrada de su casa cuando le pegó al
No,
otro
yo
carro?
ya había salido a la calle, ya estaba, donde retrocedí me paré para salir para adelante, pero cuando yo hice el cambio, fue que sentí el golpe atrás cuando ella llegó y no iba pendiente al volante porque pues ¿cómo no iba a ver la camioneta mía así es grande?
Okay, my whole car was all the way out in the street because I was going to go forward. And I have a big truck. How is it that she couldn't see my big truck?
Okay. So it's his testimony, his entire vehicle was in the street.
Entonces, su testimonio es que todo su carro estaba ya en la calle, toda su camioneta
Sí,
estaba
ya
ya
estaba
en
yo
la
para
calle.
salir para adelante.
Yes, I was already ready to move and to go forward, to go ahead.
All right. Okay.
Okay, está bien.
All right. Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any questions you want to ask Senor Pineda?
I don't have any questions for Ms. Pineda. I would like to ask Officer Estrada one follow-up question, Judge.
Okay.
El fiscal le va a hacer una pregunta a la agente Estrada, de seguimiento.
Officer Estrada, when you arrived at the location, where were the vehicles positioned in the roadway?
Señor agente Estrada, cuando usted llegó al sitio donde ocurrió el accidente, cuál era la posición de los vehículos en ese momento?
So, if I can recall correctly,
Si puedo recordar, lo que puedo recordar exactamente.
Mr. Pineda's vehicle was in between the driveway and the roadway, and Miss Salcedo's vehicle was still in the roadway.
El carro del señor Piñeda estaba entre la calle y la entrada a la casa de él, y el vehículo de la señora, del otro conductor estaba en la calle.
And I asked Mr. Pineda if I could have them pull into his driveway, and he said it was fine.
Y le pregunté al señor Piñeda si podían los dos carros meterse a la entrada de su propiedad, y él dijo que sí, que estaba bien.
And the damage that you observed on the vehicle that Mr. Pineda was driving, was it solely on the back bumper or was it on the side of the vehicle around the quarter panel for the rear wheel also?
Y el daño que usted vio en el carro, en el vehículo del señor Piñera, ¿era solamente en el parachoque o el bumper, o era también parte de la parte donde se encuentra la carrocería que estaba encima de la rueda?
From what I can recall, it's the rear right bumper was pushed in, but
Según
that's
lo
all
que
the
rec-
things that I can recall.
Según lo que recuerdo, el parachoque de atrás fue lo que yo vi que estaba dañado, el parachoque de la parte de atrás.
Okay, no further questions, Judge.
All
No
right.
tengo más preguntas.
And let me ask Ms. Tinoco, where was the damage to her vehicle?
Señora Tinoco, ¿en dónde fue el daño de su vehículo? ¿En qué parte de su vehículo fue dañado?
Enfrente en la parte izquierda.
In the
La
front part, in the left side. En la luz, dice usted?
Ajá, un poco la luz y abajo.
Around the headlights, the lights, and then down.
So the damage to her car was on the driver's side front.
Entonces, el daño a su carro fue en el lado del conductor en la parte delantera.
Sí, en la izquierda.
Yes, at the left side.
Is she sure it was on the driver's side as opposed to the passenger side?
¿Usted está segura que fue en el lado del conductor o en lugar de ser en el lado del pasajero?
No, fue en el lado del conductor, al lado mío.
It was on my side, on the driver's side.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. All right,
Gracias. Okay.
all right. All right. Are there any other witnesses you'd like to hear from, Mr. Prosecutor?
Otros
No further
testigos.
witnesses, Judge.
No,
All
no
right.
tienen más testigos.
If you will let all the parties and the witnesses know, Ms. Interpreter, that the evidence is closed and that the judge is about to make a decision.
Okay, a todas las partes, las pruebas ya se presentaron, el caso se cierra y el juez va a decir el fallo o la resolución del caso.
And Officer Estrada, do you recall whether or not there was a occupant in the car with Ms. Tanaka?
Señor agente Estrada, ¿usted se recuerda si había un pasajero en el carro con la señora Tinoco?
Yes, it was actually 4 people, I believe. It was
Creo que habían 4 personas, si recuerdo que habían 4 personas.
it was 2 infants.
Dos
Miss
ni-
Salcedo
Habían 2 niños pequeños, 2 bebés, la señorita Salcedo
and then Miss Tinoco.
y luego
Okay.
la señora Tinoco.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. All right.
Gracias. Okay.
The court has listened to the testimony of the witnesses.
La jueza ha escuchado el testimonio de los testigos.
The court finds that based on the charge of improper backing,
El juez determina que basado en el cargo de retroceder indebidamente,
that Senor Pineda had a higher duty when backing from a private driveway out into a public street,
que el señor Piñeda tiene una responsabilidad mayor de poder, cuando va a retroceder de un sitio, de una propiedad privada a la calle.
the court finds Senor Pineda guilty of the offense of improper backing,
El juez determina que el señor Piñeda es culpable del delito de retroceder indebidamente.
the fine amount is $175.
La multa son $175.
Once the fine is paid, the court will reduce this charge down to a basic rules violation.
Una vez que pague la multa, el juez va a enmendar o a reducir este cargo a un cargo menor que es reglas básicas de manejo.
That will keep this matter off of Senor Pineda's driving history.
Y entonces así esto no va a aparecer en el historial de manejo del señor Piñeda. Una vez que pague la multa, lo van a reducir para que no aparezca en su historial de manejo.
Ask him, is he able to pay the $175 within 2 weeks, or does he need to be placed on probation?
Señor Piñeda, ¿puede pagar esta multa de 175 a más tardar en 2 semanas? ¿Necesita más tiempo o la puede pagar hoy? Señor Piñeda, ¿me está escuchando?
Sí.
Ok, puede pagar la multa hoy, 175, necesita 2 semanas o necesita más de 2 semanas.
¿Cuánto dice?
175.
Ok, Aquí lo puedo pagar de una vez.
I can pay it already. I can pay it right now.
All right. Tell him he will be be directed to the clerk's office to pay the fine of $175.
Ok, le van a decir que vaya a la ventanilla ahorita dentro de unos minutos para que vaya a pagar la multa de $175.
Okay.
Based on the finding of guilt, that will be the judgment of the court.
Basado en el que se determinó que era culpable, este es el fallo que da el juez.
All right. Everyone is free to go. Thank you all.
Ya todos se pueden retirar y gracias. Señor Piñeda, deje que le digan para que vaya a pagar, ok? Después se puede retirar.
Thank you.
Gracias.
All right. Mr. Prosecutor, you want to call your next matter?
Judge, that's the last matter for the court. Officer Estrada may be excused.
Yes. Let me ask you about Linda Clay. Was there any action taken on that one, which is the first one on the calendar?
Your Honor, Ms. Clay was dismissed.
Okay. All right. And I think that takes care of that takes care of the entire